And my clock says 30, so let's do this. You ready? Everybody ready?
Yes.
Here we go. Welcome to the last meeting of the Lincoln City Council for the month of February. I'm going to ask you to join me in standing and doing a pledge of allegiance to the flag, followed by a moment of meditation.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. In accordance with LB 898, a copy of the Open Meetings Act is posted at the back of the chamber. The order of business of the City Council is as follows. The clerk will call items listed on the agenda under public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak on an agenda item should come forward after the clerk reads that item. The applicant and those in favor should speak first, those in opposition, then those in opposition. The applicant may make a short rebuttal after that. Each speaker should begin by stating their name, address, and whether you are speaking in favor of or in opposition to an item. Testimony is limited to 5 minutes per speaker. After all public hearings, the City Council will vote on resolutions and items listed under third reading. On the second and last meeting of the month, that's this meeting, immediately prior to adjournment, anyone wishing to speak on any issue not on the agenda for that day for today, nor planned for a future agenda may speak. And before we go to our agenda, I'd like to recognize Scout Troop 30 from Grace Lutheran Church in the chamber today. Welcome. Thank you. And having done that, I'll turn it over to the Madam Clerk. Please help us with our agenda.
We ask those of the general public coming forward to testify to please clearly state your name, spell your name, give your address, and sign in on the sign-in sheet laying on the podium. Testifiers may use either microphone, and there is a sign-in sheet by each microphone. We ask city staff who are testifying to please state your name, title, and the department you work for. Our first item of business is our public hearing consent agenda, items 1 through 3.
It looks like we have a lot of new appointments.
Elliot Bastar, would you come forward?
Hello, my name is Elliot Bostar, E-L-I-O-T-B-O-S-T-A-R. I live at 3800 South 42nd Street.
Mr. Bostar, welcome to the City Council meeting. It looks like you're being appointed to the LES board.
Yes, sir.
Tell us a little bit about your experience and why you like to be on the board and things like that. Just bring us up to speed.
So I currently work for two organizations, the Nebraska League of Conservation Voters and the Nebraska Conservation Education Fund. And I've been doing so for about 5 years. During that process, I have really had the privilege of speaking with people across this community and across the entire state about issues related to conservation, which is, I'll just say, which is why it's the best job there is. And in doing so, I hope to be able to take what I've learned from people, what their perspectives are, what I've learned from these issues, and be able to serve the community and LES in bringing some of that community engagement forward.
Thank you very much. Questions for this new appointee? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We'll move to our next agenda item.
Craig Anderson?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Anderson.
I'm Craig Anderson. Spell it?
No, I think we just where you live, and yeah.
Oh,
I think we can do that. Spelling's a little easier than most.
yes, sir. My address is 2601 Southwest 27th Street, Lincoln, 68522.
I guess I would ask Anderson or Anderson.
Anderson, S-O-N, A-N-D-E-R-S-O-N.
Tell us a little bit about why you'd like to serve on the Veterans Memorial Garden Advisory Council.
Yes, sir. I am retired from the Air National Guard, retired as a Chief Master Sergeant from the Civil Engineering Squadron approximately a year and a half ago. Feel this would be a great way to use my skills and knowledge of the military to serve the community again. I do work for Currently, I'm a superintendent with the Kingery Construction Company here in town. And so I've got a vast background of construction knowledge, and through my years in the Air Force and the Air National Guard, have some interest in, or vested interest in the Memorial Gardens. As a young sergeant, when I got out of active duty, I was did some of the initial brick and block work when it was first built back in the probably about 93, 94, somewhere right in there.
Nice. Thank you. Questions for this new appointee? Thank you for your willingness to serve.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
And our next one, Teresa.
Marcy Pennington and Kenneth Brownwell.
It's actually Marcy Haas now.
Marcy Haas, okay, very good, thank you.
I reside at 732 Folsom Lane. I am not a native of Lincoln, however, I've been in Nebraska for 10 years. I served in the United States Navy.
Let's start over again. Hello, Ms. Haas. Welcome today. How are you doing?
Thank you.
Tell us why you'd like to be on the advisory committee.
I would like to be on the advisory committee because I feel like I could use some of my skills that I've gained from previous organizations that I've served on prior to moving to Nebraska.
Excellent. That was much better the second time one.
Yes.
Questions for this appointee?
Marcy, how do you spell your last name then?
H-A-A-S.
That's not
Okay, very good, thank you.
I won't double ask that.
And is Kenneth here? Great.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So Kenneth Brownell, it's B-R-O-W-N-E-L-L, and I go with my middle name though, so it's Joseph, so Joe. And I live at, just moved, 9009 South 30th Street here in Lincoln, Nebraska.
This is going to be an interesting meeting, isn't it? Mr. Brownell, tell us a little bit about your desire to be on the advisory committee.
So I served almost 29 years in the Air Force. I'm a graduate of the ROTC detachment here at UNL. I retired as a colonel and was at National Defense University when I retired. I currently am the director of the Military and Veterans Success Center here at UNL. So after I retired, staying involved with veterans and continuing to serve is something I wanted to do and look forward to doing. So when I got this opportunity to serve on this committee, I couldn't think of a better opportunity to serve. I will tell you that as a cadet, when they had the traveling wall, the Vietnam Memorial Wall, I was a cadet in ROTC that would help when that wall was at the garden. And so it was really, when I got to walk around the garden, bring back great memories of that experience.
Well, thank you for your willingness to serve. Questions from the council?
Go Air Force.
We're 2 Air Force, 1 Navy today. Is that what we're doing? Right? Yeah. Nice. Thank you very much, Mr. Brownwell.
And is Rick Vest here?
Did not see Rick.
It appears not.
No? Okay. If there's no one else that wishes to come forward or speak on any other item, we can vote on these items.
On the consent agenda.
Items 1A through I were introduced by Gaylor Baird.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion by Councilwoman Gaylor Baird, second by Councilwoman Raybold. Discussion? Would you call the roll, please?
Raybold?
Yes.
Schob?
Yes.
Camp?
Yes.
Christensen?
Yes.
Eskridge?
Yes.
Gaylor Baird?
Yes.
Lamb?
Yes.
Motion carried, 7-0. Then items 2A through C were introduced by Raybold.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Raybold, second by Christensen. Discussion? Would you call the roll, please?
Raybold?
Yes.
Schob?
Yes.
Camp?
Yes.
Christensen?
Yes.
Eskridge?
Yes.
Gaylor Baird?
Yes.
Lamb?
Yes.
Motion carried, 7-0. Next then are our public hearing liquor resolutions. Those giving testimony are asked to come forward and raise their right hand for the clerk to administer the oath. After the oath, witnesses shall state their names and addresses. I'll call items 4A and B together. They're the application of China Inn for a Class I liquor license at 2662 Cornhusker Highway, Suite 8, and the manager application of Casey Ma.
Would representatives come forward? Yes, I think she's right. Yeah, sneaking up behind you, yeah.
I mean,
Let's take a breath and give her a chance
Would you
to.
raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth as you really believe it to be?
Yes.
Thank you. Just state your name and address at one of these microphones. There you go. Thank you.
My name is Casey Ma,
Okay.
and my address is 6833 Glass Ridge Place, Lincoln, Nebraska, zip code 68526.
Thank you.
Thank you for, Ms. Ma. I'm sorry to put you on the spot so quickly after arriving, but tell us a little bit about your application. Why are you here today?
All right, today I'm here to apply for the liquor license application. We'll be using it at our restaurant and under our name, China Inn, and we'll be using it to serve alcohol for some of our customers if they want it.
Okay, thank you. Questions from the council? Looks like there's no questions. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you.
Is anyone else in the audience who would like to testify on this agenda item? Thank you very much. Shall we move to 4C then?
Yes, application of Alejandro Rodriguez, doing business as La Mexicana Market, for a Class D liquor license at 3223 Cornhusker Highway, Suite E.
Hi, please come forward.
Hello.
Hi, would you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth as you really believe it to be?
Yes.
Thank you. Just state your name and address.
My name is Alejandro Rodriguez, and my address is 9600 Chester Street in Lincoln, Nebraska.
Mr. Rodriguez, thank you very much for coming forward. Tell us a little bit about your application.
I'm opening a market. Just wanted to sell some beer and to our customers. I'm bringing La Mexicana Market the opportunity to have some liquor, some beer.
So, on Cornhusker?
Cornhusker, yeah.
That was a restaurant of some type? It hasn't always been a market there, has it?
No, it's new.
Okay. Are there other questions from the council? Seeing no one, thank you very much for coming forward. And that finishes off our public hearing on liquor resolutions.
Mr. Chair, I'd move approval of items 4A, B, and C. Second.
Have a motion by Councilman Camp, second by Councilman Eskridge. Discussion of the motion? Hearing none. Teresa, when you're prepared, would you call the roll for this?
Raybold?
Yes.
Schob?
Yes.
Camp?
Yes.
Christensen?
Yes.
Eskridge?
Yes.
Gaylor Baird?
Yes.
Lamb? Yes. Motion carried 7-0. Next then are public hearing resolutions. Item 5A is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Lincoln, Nebraska, acknowledging the University of Nebraska's insufficient current payment of $16,000 per year for services provided by LFR, and requesting that the city and the university begin negotiations to develop a fair and equitable payment to be made by the university to the city for services provided to the university campuses that is more consistent with the reimbursement at similar institutions.
Before we do a motion, I think Councilman Christensen would like to.
Yes. The idea here is to enter negotiations with UNL on this subject, and I'm pleased to report to everyone that last week I sat down with representatives of the university and we had some informal talks, and we've agreed to continue those informal talks. And I have agreed, in light of that, as long as we're making good progress, and I think we will, that I'll place this on indefinite pending. So we can still take testimony today on this if there's a desire for someone here to testify on it, but I'm going to be moving this to be placed on indefinite pending.
Okay. So to take testimony, we have to have the motion in second first.
Correct.
Yes.
Second.
So a motion by Councilman Christensen, second by Councilman Eskridge was, wait, that's too soon.
There's only one item.
Okay.
So I think we need to move it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
We can go
second.
ahead and make the motion, then I'll call for anybody
Right.
else to
Yeah.
come forward.
Public hearing, yeah.
Yeah, it'll be
Placed on pending, no date certain.
no date certain. So it'll be.
All right, so we're good there. Is anyone in the chamber that would like to testify on agenda item 5A? This is the public hearing portion for that agenda item. Would anyone like to speak on 5A?
So this is my resolution. I will move now that it be put on pending no date certain.
And second.
Got a motion by Christensen, second by Eskridge to put it on pending, no date certain. Discussion? Would you call the roll, please?
Raybold?
Yes.
Schob?
Yes.
Camp?
Yes.
Christensen?
Yes.
Eskridge?
Yes.
Gaylor Baird?
Yes.
Lamb?
Yes.
Motion carried, 7-0. Next then, our public hearing ordinances second reading. Item 6A is approving a master lease purchase agreement and lease schedule number 1 with Buy Capital Incorporated and a related escrow agreement for golf maintenance equipment in the amount not to exceed $679,805.
I'm Brandon Kaufman, Finance Director for the city. Also, Len's going to speak more toward the need for the maintenance of equipment, and I'll give a quick overview of the financing. So up for your consideration is a lease purchase agreement for purchase of golf turf maintenance. This was a competitively bid lease handled by purchasing. Per charter, any lease agreements come before the city council. In addition, tonight we have Mike Rogers and Colleen Duncan from Gilmore Bell who serve to review these lease agreements. So this lease purchase agreement would be an amount not to exceed $679,805 on a 6-year repayment cycle. This would all be paid for by golf fees generated by the rounds played at the golf. And the annual payments would be approximately $123,211. It's also a lease that's contingent on the city council appropriating dollars on an annual basis for repayment. So I think that covers kind of the main financial points, and I'll let Lynn.
Yeah, good afternoon. Lynn Johnson. I'm the Director of the Parks and Recreation Department. This is a continuation of a practice that we established a number of years ago, and this really allows us to purchase the equipment that we need to maintain the Lincoln City golf courses. We do this on about a 3-year cycle. So the last time we did this was back in 2016, and prior to that it was 2013. These are we are proposing to purchase 17 pieces of equipment. The piece of equipment that they're replacing has an average length of service of about 12 years, and there are some of the pieces of equipment that have been in service for more than 17 years at this point. A majority of this equipment is various types of mowing equipment, so fairway mowers, greens mowers, that kind of thing. This is a lease purchase arrangement, so at the end of the lease term, the city owns the equipment, and that allows us to continue to keep that equipment in service. And we do an evaluation, like I say, every 3 years to determine which pieces of equipment do need to be replaced. And then we've bid this through a competitively bid process. As Brandon said, the cost of this equipment is about $680,000. The anticipated interest rate is about 2.79%, so this is a very competitive interest rate on this. And as Brandon said, the repayment period is a 6-year period, and we budget for this amount in the golf program every year. It's part of the golf program operating budget that the City Council reviewed and approves. So certainly urge your support of this. When the snow is off the ground, we'll be out mowing. So.
Questions for this testifiers? Mr. Kaufman or Mr. Johnson? Thank you both. Is anyone in the audience that would like to speak on this agenda item? All right.
All right.
So
We'll go on to item 6B.
6B.
Approving an agreement for tower space and appurtenances between the city and Verizon for placement of antennas on an existing city-owned cell tower generally located at Main Street and Southwest 42nd Street in Hallam. I cannot talk tonight.
Chris Connolly, Acting City Attorney. I am not the expert on this particular lease. Apparently the real estate agent who is representing the property owner on this is from Springfield, Missouri, and wasn't able to get up here this evening. So, so I have limited information for you outside of what the lease, or excuse me, yeah, what outside the lease already states in it. So I'll try and answer whatever questions you have, but other than that, I don't have much.
Councilman Eskridge.
Okay. My only question is This is Hallam.
Yeah,
Wow,
we own a
was this-
cell
Was
tower?
this before us?
We do own other cell towers outside the city, and it's
Okay.
it's
You own a
just,
cell tower
it's
in
part of what we've done.
All right.
So.
Other questions? You stole my question. That was- Other questions from the council? Thank you very much. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to testify on agenda item 6B? Seeing no one, I think we're
All right,
ready to
that
wrap up.
concludes our public hearing. We can move into the voting session.
Let's do that.
Item 7A, amending the Lincoln Municipal Code to reflect the recent redesignation of Public Works and Utilities Department as the Transportation and Utilities Department and the Public Works Director as the Transportation and Utilities Director, introduced by Eskridge.
So moved.
Second?
Have a motion by Councilman Eskridge, second by Councilwoman Raybold. Discussion? Hearing none, would you call the roll, please?
Raybold?
Yes.
Schob?
Yes.
Camp?
Yes.
Christensen?
Yes.
Eskridge?
Yes.
Gaylor Baird?
Yes.
Lamb?
Yes.
Motion carried, 7-0. Item 7B is text amendment 18007, amending Title 27 of the Lincoln Municipal Code to
Do something.
Do a lot of things, actually.
definitions of solar energy conversion systems, introduced by Eskridge.
So moved.
Second?
Have a motion by Councilman Eskridge, second by Councilwoman Gaylor Baird. Discussion?
And we do have a motion to amend. I just handed out from Law Department to correct a typographical error on page 3, line 10. Strike the word coverts and replace the word with converts.
It's a good move, legal.
Yeah, those are different words. I would like to hear a motion to amend.
I move motion to amend number 1, which corrects that typographical error.
Second.
A motion to amend by Councilwoman Raybold, second by Councilman Christensen. Discussion of the motion to amend? Roy, is this a good thing?
Good thing.
Okay.
Avoid confusion.
No longer a covert thing, anyway.
Yeah. We'd like to be less covert. Is there no additional discussion? Would you call the roll on the motion to amend?
Raybold?
Yes.
Schob?
Yes.
Camp?
Yes.
Christensen?
Yes.
Eskridge?
Yes.
Gaylor Baird?
Yes.
Lamb?
Yes.
Motion carried, 7-0.
Now, let's vote on the original motion, please.
Raybold?
Yes.
Schob?
Yes.
Camp?
Yes.
Christensen?
Yes.
Eskridge?
Yes.
Gaylor Baird?
Yes.
Lamb?
Yes.
Motion carried, 7-0. Item 7C is a text amendment 18015 to amend various sections of the Lincoln Municipal Code to redesignate Public Works and Utilities as Transportation and Utilities, introduced by Eskridge.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Eskridge, second by Councilman Christensen. Discussion? Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Raybold?
Yes.
Schob?
Yes.
Camp?
Yes.
Christensen?
Yes.
Eskridge?
Yes.
Gaylor Baird?
Yes.
Lamb?
Yes.
Motion carried, 7-0. Item 7D is change of zone 18035, application of the planning director for a change from P public use to I-1 industrial on property generally located at 4040 North 48th Street, introduced by Eskridge.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilman Eskridge, second by Councilman Christensen. Discussion? Hearing none, I think we're ready to vote.
Raybold?
Yes.
Schob?
Yes.
Camp?
Yes.
Christensen?
Yes.
Eskridge?
Yes.
Gaylor Baird?
Yes.
Lamb?
Yes.
Motion carried, 7-0. Next is 7E, change of zone 19001, application of the planning director for a change from R2 residential to P public on property generally located at North 70th and O Streets, introduced by Eskridge.
So moved.
Second?
Motion by Eskridge, second by Raybold. Discussion? Questions, comments, interjections?
Trying to drag this meeting out, Benny?
Yeah, no. Would you call the roll, please?
Raybold?
Yes.
Schob?
Yes.
Camp?
Yes.
Christensen?
Yes.
Eskridge?
Yes.
Gaylor Baird?
Yes.
Lamb?
Yes.
Motion carried, 7-0. Resolutions on first reading are items 8A through F. Ordinances on first reading are items 9A and B. Our pending list date certain is item 10A.
Motion.
I'm sorry, Councilman Christensen.
After some discussion with the administration, I think we've all had this discussion, we've agreed to place item 10A on pending no date certain. So I'm moving that we move that to pending no date certain.
Second.
A motion by Councilman Christensen, second by Councilwoman Gaylord Baird. Discussion? Hearing no discussion, would you call the roll, please?
Raybold?
Yes.
Schob?
Yes.
Camp?
Yes.
Christensen?
Yes.
Eskridge?
Yes.
Gaylor Baird?
Yes.
Lamb?
Yes.
Motion carried, 7-0. Our regular pending list are items 11A through C. Anyone wishing to address the council on a matter not on this agenda and not planned to appear on a future agenda may do so at this time, since it is an open microphone session.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Well,
Good evening.
yeah.
Well, I have to look
Yeah,
at all that stuff.
it would have broken my concentration if somebody asked me while I was writing. So I thought
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good evening, members of the City Council. My name is Peter Catt. My address 6400 Artisan Way. I'm appearing as a citizen of the city of Lincoln tonight. I don't know that you'll be able to answer these questions tonight, but I'll pose them and we can start working on them. The issues all relate to the ballot issue that's pending on the ballot for the quarter-cent sales tax, and I'm probably a little bit behind on paying attention to that. But the paper reported that the city's going to contribute $187,000 to a campaign to educate people for the quarter-cent sales tax. What's the source of that funding? Did the council approve that? I've asked the city to provide a copy of the city's contracts with Olson's and Bullhorn Communications so I can see what's that money being spent on. It appears that this spending could be coordinated with the Fix Lincoln Streets Now committee. Don't know, but it sure looks like there's an awful lot of crossover on that. And that raises the question from, I've been elected official on the school board, and this amount of spending on education, on a bond issue, wow. I mean, I'd ask the question, is it legal? And so I don't know if anybody's asked accountability and disclosure if this campaign that you're doing is legal or not. But if I'd have been on the school board, I sure would have asked. And then even if it's legal, I still think it's just improper. And I don't even know what the source of funding is yet. Then, assuming that goes by, then these information displays, is that a public forum that at all of these places that I can show up and provide information to the public as to why I don't think people should support this? I mean, and the problem with it is that these meetings are now starting tomorrow and next week, and I'm going to be gone, so I won't be able to go. I don't know if I can find somebody to go. But I think it's fundamentally unfair for the city to spend $187,000, and you can call it education, you can call it what you want, but you're convincing the public that you need the money, and I don't agree with it. And that's me so far. I've actually got 2 or 3 other people against the city. So I don't know what information you can provide on that, but I don't like what's going on with what the city's doing with your quarter-cent sales tax increase. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Katz. Traditionally, this is just a you tell us. We don't really engage in a conversation. Councilman Christensen's going to help me with that, though.
I'd be happy to stay afterwards and give you what I know.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you very much for coming forward, though.
Great.
This is kind of major. Could we have our city attorney tell us the legality? Because my understanding as you approach Mr. Connolly is that the city can't expend municipal funds for campaigns.
Chris Connolly, Acting City Attorney. Yes, you cannot use public resources to advocate for or against a ballot issue. That's correct. And so that certainly could include money. However, I have reviewed the Bullhorn Communications contract, and yes, it is legal. The question of where the money is coming from is one that's better answered by the mayor's office. That's not something that I, as the city attorney, determine whether it's coming from. And in terms of whether or not the money's being spent for public education, yes, it is, and that is the useful purpose for that kind of money.
I'm sorry, Councilwoman Raybold.
Chris, do you recall, it seems like on one of our last ballot initiatives involved stormwater bonds. And I seem to recall that there were a number of open houses in all the different quadrants of the city. Are you familiar with where they put together the, I guess, the easel displays and the staff time to go to all these open houses around the city? Would that be from the same?
That's not something that our
Okay.
office arranges, so no, I couldn't tell you. And to answer the question about whether or not it's an open forum and others could respond, I don't know the answer to that question either.
And let's get back to the public comment. Thank you, Mr. Connolly, and see if there's anyone else in the audience that would like to address the city council. These are all good questions, but I'm not sure if this is the right forum for them.
Hello, my name is Derek Rimpey, and I live 2720 M Street.
Hello, Mr. Rimpey, welcome.
Thank you. So, Mr. Chairman and members of the council, I'm a Christian minister from Restoration City Church, and I am here with the blessing of my pastor. I come this evening to bring to your attention that children are being killed in our city. And what I'm referring to is the act of abortion. Now, according to the 2017 statistics from the Department of Health and Human Services, every week there are 10 abortions that take place in Lancaster County. And those are occurring here in our city limits. Now, while some people would understand abortion to be just another small medical procedure, there is nothing routine about a doctor invasively entering a woman's uterus with a suction tube to suction out this potential human that we all know to be a baby. Now, God's word makes this clear that from conception, there is a person created in the image of God. And this fact is unanimously affirmed by science, by biology, that upon fertilization, a unique human being with unique DNA, distinct from the mother, is formed. So in other words, abortion is merely a euphemism for the killing of preborn children. And to you, the men and women who have been charged with civil authority over this city, I'm bringing to your attention that children are being murdered in our city to the tune of 500 small, innocent, precious image bearers of God every year. And that's 10 every single week. Now, God makes clear in his word in Romans chapter 13 that your authority is given by God and that you are ministers and servants of justice and that you are to honor good works and be a terror to evil works. So I'm here to respectfully call you to fulfill your duty as ministers of justice, as civil authorities, to protect the citizens under your jurisdiction and to protect the lives of our innocent and helpless neighbors. Now, my guess is that some of you are thinking that even if we did agree with you, we can't do anything because of the Supreme Court ruling in Roe versus Wade. But let me remind us of a few important things. First, Supreme Court doesn't make law. Congress makes law. Second, this unconstitutional ruling is based upon a false premise that the preborn child is only a potential human life. And third, the Supreme Court is not infallible. Case in point is the Dred Scott decision, where they declared black people to be property and not people, not fully people. So, how can we stop the killing of children in our city? Well, I say, why not follow the lead of the other hundreds of cities and states in our nation who have set up a sanctuary city for illegal immigrants in defiance of federal law? That we can set up a sanctuary city for the preborn children in Lincoln by making abortion illegal and not enforcing the unjust, unconstitutional federal Roe decision. Now, finally, as a Christian and a minister of the gospel, I do believe that the parents and the abortionists who are taking the lives of these children are able to be forgiven of their sins and to be changed because of the death and the resurrection of Jesus Christ. And if they will repent of their sins and turn to Christ. And I will continue to share this message as I believe it is my duty and my love to do so. I also believe that as Christians and fellow human beings, we do need to care for these mothers and families that are often in very difficult circumstances. Now, with that being said, that does not relieve you of your duty to be ministers of justice and to protect the lives of the citizens under your authority, whether they are outside or inside of the womb. I come here tonight assuming the best, because I too was unaware of this reality for many years. But after tonight, you have no more excuse. But instead, you have the responsibility and the opportunity to act and to save the lives of hundreds, if not thousands, of children. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Pastor. Questions? Thank you again for your testimony. Would anyone else like to speak before the City Council during our public comment portion?
Mr. Chair, seeing nobody coming forward, I would move for adjournment.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilman Camp and a second by Councilwoman Raybold to adjourn. Would you call the roll, please?
Raybold?
Yes.
Schob?
Yes.
Camp?
Yes.
Christensen?
Yes.
Eskridge?
Yes.
Gaylor Baird?
Yes.
Lamb?
Yes.
Motion carried, 7-0.
Thank you. We are adjourned.